Okay, hi, good noon, all of you. So we shall continue with our discussion. So in this session, we shall focus on solving MCQs, customized notes, how to maintain notes and its significance, and also is cracking entrance in first attempt. Is it feasible or is it still elusive? Okay, along with that, we'll discuss few other miscellaneous topics as much as we can cover in this 30 to 40 minute session, right? So, first of all, we tend to, yeah, good afternoon. Hi, Vivek. Hi, Bharati. Hello. So, we tend to face different kinds of questions. So, as discussed previously, we can have questions which are purely memory based, or we can have questions which are concept based. Some based on logic, or we can even have case based questions, image based questions, whatnot, different kinds of questions, and also questions with negative wordings at the end, like except, or all of the following are true except, or find the odd one out, something like that. So, no matter what the question is, the basic layout is reading a question and options completely. Often, when we tend to read the question, we mostly either skip reading the entire question, or after reading the question we might jump directly into the key or into the option which we consider it as more appropriate. But the basic tenet here is reading out the entire question along with four options completely, not once but twice, so that there won't be any chance for error. See, if there are certain questions which you can't answer or which you have no idea, that's well and good. But those questions which you are familiar with, but you have done a mistake because of your inability to read the question completely or because of your hurriedness, then that would be a blunder. So you should not take any chance. So it's always advisable to read the question twice and then go through all the options, even though if you feel that the first option is more appropriate. And while discussing different types of questions, as I mentioned, there can be memory-based questions, there can be questions based on logic, case-based questions, etc. For example, if I ask you, what is the refractive index of an angle? Isn't it? So there is no logic in it, there is no concept. There are certain abstract values which have to be remembered. And this is possible by repeated practice. This is possible by maintaining a customized notes. So here comes the customized notes. We'll discuss about the notes in the subsequent part of this video. So you can have memory-based questions. And if I ask you a question on apexogenesis or apexification, there can be case-based questions pertaining to the same, or there can be based on concept. So apexogenesis or apexification, for example, right? Also, you can have questions on concepts. For example, endodontic instrument taper. What if you cut a 2% file by 1 mm? What would be its diameter? The 15 size instrument. So you can have these concept based questions. And also, obviously, we have these image based questions which can be mastered by going through the pictures in your standard textbooks in your free time, or when you feel bored with reading all the text, isn't it? So we have different kinds of questions and different strategies to be implemented by maintaining notes, by noting down this memory based, by thoroughly understanding the concepts, by reciting. For example, take pharmacology, you have plenty of drugs to remember. So these kind of topics have to be recited every day, early in the morning, the moment you wake up, where you have fresh memory and more active and energy, where you are more active and energetic, isn't it? So we can have different kinds of strategies, which again we'll discuss in detail while going through how to actually prepare for an entrance, right? That we'll do it separately. So maintaining notes, early morning recitation, and then most importantly, discussing with your friends. Because the moment you start discussing with your friends, see, in order to discuss something with someone, you should have some prior knowledge or information. Only then you can discuss efficiently and effectively. So discussions do help in this context, because once you start discussing, obviously when you're preparing, when you're doing self-prep, you'll always remember the points which you have discussed previously. So you'll have this power of discussion, which will be useful for you in your self-prep. And along with this, attending classes, no matter whether it's online class or offline class, or if your friend is explaining you some kind of concept. See, having a kind of a live interaction always helps. So these are some of the things which you can implement in your daily day or daily mode of preparation so that you can effectively remember, face any kind of question. If it is concept based, it depends on your thorough understanding. If it is memory based, it depends on your practice, recitations, or the amount of information you put in your customized notes. And sometimes, as I said, once you start discussing, those discussions will definitely be of help. Maybe not now, but maybe later, right? So all this kind of mixed up things do help you to enhance your preparation to a greater extent, apart from the self-study. Okay, so that's one thing which I wanted to highlight. And also there can be questions, tricky questions, like if they ask you, which sterilization, how do you sterilize birds? So there can be either sodium nitrite or nitrite. We can have these kind of confusions. As I said, having clarity or lack of ambiguity is a key. So all this comes with practice, right? So make sure that you're maintaining notes. Make sure that you wake up early in the morning and go through those exclusive memory-based topics. Make sure that you're understanding the concepts thoroughly rather than mugging up, and make sure that you're discussing concepts with your friends. That's very important. And also make sure that you're attending classes if it is feasible. In fact, even though if you're not registered to our course, you can go through our live sessions every day, almost every week. We have 2 live sessions. So at least if you can gather 1 point from 1 session or 1 class, that would make a huge difference. Don't you think so? What if you get 1 question from today's discussion? So if you have this kind of approach, that really keeps you moving forward, and you'll never miss any lecture if you have a chance of attending, right? So I hope you got some points here. And along with this, I also wanted to highlight regarding the importance of notes, because more or less we take these things for granted. We assume that why should I write notes, or why should I waste my time writing notes? Why can't I just scribble something on the synopsis or maybe on key points? Why should I actually write? So most of us do have these questions, but let me clarify you one thing. A person who maintains notes will definitely have an advantage over others during the process of preparation, and that's for sure. Because making notes will enable you to have more and more confidence, and making notes is going to save a lot of time just before your preparation during the final 30 days, 60 days, 15 days. So those final so-called stressful, challenging days, this notes, which is your highly customized, highly kind of synopsis, is going to benefit you a lot. It's going to give you more and more confidence. It's going to save ample amount of time. You need not really waste your time again scrolling through various textbooks or MCQs in order to revise. So notes has a very important role. But what to write in notes? Does it mean you should note down everything which you come across? This we have discussed in detail previously also. Only note down those things which are purely memory based. So if I can give you one example, take for example hardness of dental materials. You have a topic called hardness. You have macro hardness, micro hardness test. Rather than writing the entire hardness text, why don't we just write down a brief classification like macro and micro? In macro again you have Brinner, so various sub-classifications. And in each micro hardness or macro hardness, just what are the criteria to differentiate them into macro and micro? And what kind of jig are we using? What is the shape of the jig? In fact, we had a question on the shape of a jig, which is used for testing Brinell hardness or Noob hardness, right? Isn't it? A Vickers hardness. So it's just making outlines of important points, or drawing diagrams if necessary, or noting down tables. Tables are save time. They really save you time enormously, because no matter how many volumes of text you study, everything can be simplified in form of table. Everything can be simplified in form of a text, in form of a flowchart. So rather than putting the entire text in your notes, make sure that you're writing your notes in form of key points, or tables, or flowcharts, or it can be values, or it can be scientist names. So only those which are highly volatile, only those you feel you're not confident in, or those topics which you are making mistakes repeatedly. So if you can highlight those points and make a note of them in form of bullet points, diagrams, flowcharts, or tables, that's going to save a lot of time for you later. And most importantly, as I said, that's going to increase your confidence levels for sure, because You're only making note of those points which you're not aware or which you're not confident in. So obviously when you make a note and when you repeatedly revise the same stuff for a process of weeks or months together, your confidence levels are going to go up for sure, right? So along with this, we have something called as stick notes. I've discussed this previously as well. In standard textbooks, see, I don't advise you to read the entire standard textbooks now, but for example, you're going through, let me just take the same topic. You're going through Brittle hardness lemma. So what is the shape of a jig which is being used? So for sake of referring, you have opened your films. So rather than underlining everything, you can just add a stick notes or stick-on notes to that particular page in standard textbook, and on that stick-on notes you can make a note of those key points. So whenever you refer a standard textbook, make a habit of pasting a stick-on notes in that particular page and then write down key points there, so that whenever you open the textbook back, rather than going through the entire text, you can just have an overview of important points pertaining to that topic in your stick-on notes. Okay, I have done this practical and I found this very much useful during the final days of preparation as well as during the entire process of preparation, right? So notes is customized. In fact, it's not something which is given by the other guys or other people. You are preparing your own notes, so it is a high-yield synopsis which is customized according to your needs. That is very, very important. And along with notes, also have this habit of maintaining stick-on notes in your standard textbooks, right? So that's very important. So notes is going to give you more and more confidence, and it's going to save you valuable time in the process of preparation, right? I hope it's clear. And also regarding few other important elements while you're preparing. So when you're preparing, so how exactly should you prepare and what topic should you focus on? For example, in a given week you have one subject. So how do you complete that subject? Is it possible to complete the entire syllabus pertaining to that subject? So we'll have a brief discussion pertaining to that now, which is the most important factor in one's preparation, right? Yeah, hi Devna, Sita, Abba, Disha, Mukesh, Anjali, Kirti, Sishan, Nihar, Richa. Yes, yes, that's good. Yeah, good afternoon all of you. Yes, Anjali, that's a very valid point which you have made, but experience tells you one thing. I mean, do you have this habit of maintaining notes? Because you say notes takes time, why don't you utilize that time in learning? Dear Anjali, making notes is part and parcel of learning. It's not a separate entity. We're used to writing notes without paying attention during our undergraduation. For example, if I ask my students to write down a definition 100 times or 10 times, what happens? They don't pay any attention, they write notes for my sake. So that makes a note not really that viable option in that period. So it's not that kind of notes we're talking about now. Notes is part and parcel of learning. When you're writing something, you're thinking of it, you know what to write, you know what is important, you know what you're not confident in. So that way, you're enhancing your preparation. So when you compare a person with notes and a person without notes, everything seems to be fine when you're studying a particular topic. As I said, hardness of dental materials. Macro hardness, micro hardness, the moment you study, the moment you don't maintain notes, that's fine. You will remember the topic fresh, it will be fresh in your memory, and you'll do well even in the test if it is for a span of 1 week or 10 days. But after 15 days, after 20 days, after a month, again, rather than wasting your entire time reading the entire process of the text, if you have this high yield notes, you can complete the same topic in less than 5 to 10 minutes. So notes does saves time, and it is a part and parcel of your learning experience. Yes. Hi Komal, good afternoon. Hi Judge Mukesh. Yes. Yes, Anjali. I hope you're convinced with the explanation which we have given in the process. Anyways, you can prove us wrong. You can always prove us wrong. Right? Hi, Manish. Good noon. Okay. And now coming to different phases of preparation, this we have been circulating to our students. We have done this previously also. So for example, when you're preparing, for example, you have the next Sunday, you have an exam in pedodontics or dental materials, take any one subject. So how exactly are you going to utilize this entire 1 week in order to complete as much syllabus as possible in that particular subject? And as I said, it's not possible to complete 100% of the syllabus, even though that should be your goal. It's not possible, because how can you expect yourself to complete all the syllabus of a particular subject in 1 week? That would be foolish. So if you can complete at least 50 to 60%, I'm telling you because of a specific reason. So when you're starting, in our course, we'll be providing you daily schedule also. So we'll be having weekly schedules, so we'll be having weekly targets, like for example, as I said, next Sunday, for example, you have dental materials exam. So every day, what to study, what topics to focus on. So we have the daily schedule also. So you can follow that schedule, or you can divide the entire textbook or all the chapters based on your convenience, and you can allot a particular day for studying this particular number of topics. And what we usually advise you is, we have different phases in preparation in a given week. In phase 1, try to complete all our videos, all the key points in each classes, and even the demo test in that particular subject. And in phase 2, practice as many multiple choice questions as possible. In fact, everyday practicing MCQs is very important. For example, in a given day, Monday, you started with a few particular chapters as per the daily schedule. Along with that, you'll be watching videos, you'll be noting down key points, or you'll be preparing notes. At the end of the day, at least for 2 to 3 hours time in that particular day, if you can practice MCQs from those topics which you have studied, that would be of immense help. So phase 1, trying to complete all videos, key points and synopsis. Phase 2, completing as many MCQs as possible by Friday, at least by Friday. And Saturday and Sunday should be a time for revision, revising what you have all studied for the past 5 days. That is from Monday to Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So these 5 days, what all you study, Saturday and Sunday should be time for comprehensive revision of all these 5 days syllabus. And Sunday should be the time where you'll be giving your test. And once you're done with your test, analyzing the test paper, making a note of all your mistakes or new points or important points, and then completing your preparation. So this is a simple way of preparing for any subject. You can have your own plan, you can have your own approach, but the one which is more or less standard, it depends, right? Which is something standard to me might not be the same for you. So this is the suggestion which I usually give when students ask me like how to prepare, how exactly to divide syllabus. So we are giving you weekly schedules, we are providing you with daily schedules, and we are providing you with videos. And as I said, divide your time. Okay, is it streaming now? Is it streaming fine? Okay, can anyone of you please let me know like from where it is not streaming, because I didn't really observe this. Some issue with network I reckon. So from where did it stop streaming while discussing which specific topic? I mean, when I was discussing this phased manner of preparation, was it streaming then? Okay. Okay. Anyways, I think we lost 5 or 10 minutes of what I was talking. So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is we are trying to have this phased manner of preparation so that we can efficiently cover 60 to 70% of the syllabus in each subject in a given week. And this is possible once you start finishing your videos, your key points in e-classes, and your study club discussions, and as well as your synopsis. So this completes your phase 1. And phase 2, practicing at least 100 or 150. The number varies, depends on the time availability, depends on your capacity, depends on your mode of prep. So it's not just solving MCQs, but referring the answers and then referring, cross-checking, or referring standard textbooks and making your key points or stick-on notes in your standard textbooks and then making a note in your customized notes. So all this would at least complete 60 to 70% of syllabus in a given week. So that's very important. And this is how you can comprehensively complete your preparation in a given week, and you can have your own method. And obviously, once you have registered the course, you will have these alerts, you will have these study club discussions, you will have mails, you will have videos in accordance to your schedule, right? So you will have that kind of guidance which you really need not worry. So once you're registered, the only thing you should be bothered about is spending maximum time on your preparation, right? So that should be as simple as it is said. Okay? Okay, right. I think we lost 5 or 10 minutes of what I was discussing. Anyways, I think I made my point. So regarding the importance of customized notes, and also regarding different question formats, I think we have done that elaborately. And also we'll post you mails regarding this phase-wise preparation, right? So you have any further questions in specific regarding how to prepare and all, you can drop a message in live chat or you can even drop a mail, right? So we'll try to have an overview of all that we have discussed so far. It's very simple. So once you're preparing, make sure that, for example, you have these dental materials the next Sunday as exam, let's suppose. So make sure that you complete synopsis, videos, key points as soon as possible. And along with that, daily spend 2 to 3 hours minimum on practicing MCQs, referring explanatory answers, and then referring standard textbooks if necessary, and then making notes. So making notes should be not a one-day process, but it should be a continuous process. So this has to be done till Friday. So Monday to Friday, you'll be focusing on this phase 1 and phase 2. And then Friday evening or Saturday, you should be able to focus on complete revision of all that you have focused on the previous 5 days, that is from Monday to Friday. So once you complete your revision again on Saturday, Sunday is the day of giving test. So once you complete your test in a given stipulated time, you submit the test, and most importantly, which we commonly neglect, is to review the paper which we have done. Ultimately, you're doing this for the sake of test, as I said before. So you have to submit your test, review your paper, find out where you have gone wrong and why you have gone wrong in certain MCQs, make a note of them, and also make a note of new points, important points which you feel or which you feel like you have missed out in the process of preparation, and then that completes your weekly prep. So this is how you can comprehensively cover at least 60 to 70% of the syllabus, and the rest you can complete during the time of your cumulative test or revision test or during the time of your grand test, right? So this is the course overview, and this is the overview of your preparation. And regarding the role of standard textbooks, as I said, make this habit of pasting stick-on notes in important topics so that you need not really waste your time going through the entire text. See, it's not always possible to make a note of everything in your customized notes. You can just do this, which is practically feasible. For example, take a standard textbook, or you're referring few topics, as I said previously. In that page itself, you should have that stick-on notes with important points in it. So that will simplify your referring of standard textbooks, right? So you'll not have the fear of again referring standard textbook if you have this stick-on notes. Okay. and regarding which textbooks to be followed. I think I've given you this file, DCI curriculum file, where you have the list of standard textbooks, and also we have one customized mail which I've been forwarding to most of you. So you can follow the list and you can refer the textbooks accordingly. It's very simple, Richa. What if you don't have standard textbooks? Get standard textbooks, as simple as it is. Because there is no replacement for standard textbooks. And often we rely highly on guides on other people for answers that we forget the real objective of what we have been doing. In fact, we are having this kind of preparation, or we're studying for sake of entrance to enhance our knowledge base, not to get right answers. Try to get this point, this is very important. We're doing all of this not to get right answer for a particular MCQ. We are doing all of this to enhance our knowledge base. And this is possible only once you personally take the pain in opening textbooks, referring textbooks. If I'm giving you direct answers, if someone is giving you direct answers, then we're just making you lazy. That shouldn't happen, because the objective here is not to get right answer from MCQ. The objective is to get the right information in a right manner possible. And that is feasible only once you personally start referring books, and there is no alternative to standard textbooks, right? So keep this in mind. So make sure that you refer standard textbooks. If you don't have, get them somehow. Maybe from your college library, maybe from your seniors, maybe from your juniors, whatnot. You have different resources, or maybe you can even buy newer ones, because investing in standard textbooks is a very good habit, and it not only helps you in this particular phase of preparation, but also in future. In future also, a standard textbook is always a standard, and definitely it's going to play an important role even during your post-graduation, or maybe even after that, right? So it's worth investing in standard textbooks, and it's worth referring standard textbooks. Yes, you can drop a mail, Anjali. We'll send you the list. And also, we often face this issue with a smartphone addiction. We are so much glued to these smartphones that we really find it challenging to resist the usage of smartphone. In the process, we feel like we should deactivate our accounts, or we should totally, altogether abandon the use of smartphones, which is obviously not a viable option. So, because of this smartphone addiction, also if you observe in our weekly schedules, we have a separate column for number of hours for smartphone usage, so that you'll keep a tab on the amount of time you're spending on smartphones, because unknowingly we are wasting hours together every day on unnecessary, idiotic and stupid things, thereby losing our valuable time. This shouldn't happen. Smartphones should be used smartly, but not in a dumb manner possible. So keep a tab on the number of hours you're spending on smartphones. And also, we had one draft and we shared it among our students also. If you feel that you're wasting more time, and if you feel like you have to use your smartphone to the best extent possible, rather than avoiding or abandoning the smartphone usage, try to limit the usage. So initially, start with 3 hours. Make sure that you're spending not more than 3 hours. And then limit or curtail the use of smartphone to such an extent that you use your phone only when it is needed, but not for sake of entertainment or for sake of distractions, because these distractions are very harmful. In fact, they will deviate you completely from your preparation, thereby you'll be losing drive and motivation in the end. And you might be experiencing like how much time you'll be wasting on going through Facebook wall or the list of videos in YouTube. So make sure that you're smart enough to properly utilize your smartphone for the right purpose, right? And as I said, do not avoid your smartphone usage completely. Limit the amount of usage. Initially allot maybe 2 or 3 hours every day, and then limit it to 1 hour, maybe 30 minutes, or only if it is necessary. like for example, you're attending live sessions, or for example, you're giving a test, or you're watching some e-classes videos, or you're involving in study club discussions. If that is a sick, then you can right away use a smartphone. But if you think you're wasting your time on unnecessary things, try to delete unnecessary apps. Try to minimize the notifications you get from nonsensical apps, right? So that way you can keep the distractions at bay. And for this, you need to have a support of your family members or your boyfriend or girlfriend. So if they can understand you, then obviously they'll not disturb you much using your respective smartphones. So do not avoid usage of smartphones, but limit the usage. Because if you avoid, you'll only fail in the process and you'll eventually again start getting glued to your smartphone, right? So keep a tab on your smartphone usage, and also use weekly schedules and fill up the columns for number of hours you're allotting for smartphones, so that you'll know how much time you're spending on smartphones every day. That's very important, okay? Right, so we still have a lot many topics to cover. We'll stop it here. We'll discuss various other topics like cracking the entrance in first attempt, division of subjects, time management, diet, friends discussion, and several other miscellaneous topics in our evening session. And before that, before concluding, this is my personal favorite, and I would like to complete with this specific topic. Can I crack entrance in the first attempt? How many of you feel that it is possible? Yes, Anjali. We shall discuss that. Sure, we'll discuss that in the evening session, okay? Please drop the same question in the evening session, like how you can manage your time. We'll discuss that in time management part of our evening discussion. So how many of you really feel that we can crack entrance in first attempt? Often we are made to believe that clearing any task in first attempt is often challenging and even impossible. Because we see even in our undergraduation, we have this experience of where seniors, in spite of doing well in university theory exams, most of them couldn't crack entrance in the first attempt. But does it mean that you can't crack entrance in the first attempt? In fact, as I said, there is no correlation between your performance levels in university exam and an entrance, because university exam, it's all about maybe you understand the subject, that's fine, but more or less we tend to memorize stuff, by heart things, impress our externals, and the performance which we give in university exam depends on our behavior or the way in which you are oriented in your college and the impression the staff has on you. So there are a number of factors which play a role in deciding your performance in university exams. That's a different story altogether. But entrance exam is all about you. It's all about your knowledge. It's all about your passion, dedication, and the amount of motivation you have. So the more qualities you have, the better performance you're going to get, isn't it? So it is not impossible to crack entrance in first attempt. If they say it is impossible to crack entrance in first attempt, it's only because of the heights of stupidity. There is nothing like we can't do it in first attempt. We have done it. Most of our seniors, most of our juniors, and most of you will do it for sure. So it all comes with self-belief. There is no correlation between your percentage in university and your entrance. We often feel that if we get a very good percentage in university, like 75 or 80, we do well in entrance. There is no such correlation. Even though you do poor in your university, even though if you just get 65%, 60% or even 55%, you can still do wonders in entrance exam, because entrance exam is all about understanding concepts and having this format of consistent hard work with confidence, right? So cracking in first attempt is something not impossible. It's within your limits. It's within your capacity. The only thing we need is a tripoding effect, hard work and consistency with confidence. And remember, it has nothing to do with the university performance or percentages, right? Exactly. Yes, it all depends on the amount of seriousness you have towards what you're doing. That's true. Yes, courteous Dominic Pereira. Thank you. You're most welcome, courteous, and thank you for your courtesy. Okay. So I'm not trying to give you too much of information in single live session, or else it will be like saturation. So I'm dividing. That's the reason why I planned 4 live sessions today, so that I can give you whatever is needed in a divided dose, rather than giving you in a single bolus or loading dose. Fine. I hope you're able to follow. So you have any issues, whatsoever, you can always drop a mail. Or if you want anything further from my side, but for sake of discussion, you can let me know. As one of you rightly asked, as Anjali asked regarding how to manage time in internship. So we'll focus on that in specific in our evening session. That's very important. Often we feel that in internship we have no time, but how can we make the best use of internship in order to produce excellent results and make maximum use of the available time? We shall definitely discuss that in the evening session. Vivek, a Mission 12 batch, you can drop a mail at proudtobedentist@gmail.com for more details. So the first part of this Mission 12 batch is orientation lectures, which we are doing today. So the whole day we're having orientation lectures, and tomorrow we'll be having orientation exam, and our regular schedule starts from February 4th. Yeah, aims you have a 1/3 negative marking. So, and also the amount of focus on subjects varies. So NEET, more or less, they claim that there is equal weightage, but PGI there is more propensity to ask questions from ortho, pedo, fluorides. So depends on the format of exam. And aims, obviously, you have the variation in the duration of exam, the number of questions, negative marking. But remember one thing, the basic layout is the same. The more knowledge you have, the more confidence you have, the more MCQs you practice, the more oriented you are, no matter what the entrance is. There can be minor variations in different formats of entrances, but that really is not going to play a major role in your success. The only thing that's really crucial is how you're orienting yourself, how you're utilizing your daily time, and how much practice you have been giving in, and how dedicated you stay. In specific, regarding games, regarding other entrances, you can refer our previous videos where we have covered various points pertaining to the same. Okay, Seshank says, yes, many of my seniors are good rankings, but not in NEET last year. Okay. Yes, Disha, we'll let you know all the details of orientation exam by tomorrow, right? Mostly we'll be having exam in the evening session, right? But the test can be taken anytime as per your convenience, but we'll be starting or we'll be opening up our test tomorrow evening. So it will be live from tomorrow evening, mostly. Okay. Right, so you have any further questions, or shall we break and see you meet again in the evening 5 p.m.? There is something called as presence of mind on the day of exam. So often what happens is, no matter how well you prepare, on the day of exam, when you're not confident in, you'll lose this presence of mind. maybe because of fear or apprehension. So presence of mind also plays a role. We assume that to be luck, but as far as my knowledge and experience is concerned, it's presence of mind. Even simple questions can go wrong. Even challenging questions can be answered very efficiently. It all depends on presence of mind on the day of exam. Yes, Judge. That's true. You're welcome, Bishra. Yes, Dev, you can check our website ptbdacademy.com, or you can drop a mail at proudtobedentist@gmail.com for fee structure. That's what I said. Seshan, that's true. So as we practice every day, as we have this habit of repeated practice, you'll obviously improve your presence of mind. You should be in that moment. Because fear, apprehension, or other negativities will tend to remove that factor from our mind. So we should be able to focus on what's there in this current moment. That obviously is sufficient. We assume that there is something called magic to do or to achieve success, but sticking on to basic principles is the key. Sticking on to the basic principles, no matter what the exam is. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see you again by 5 p.m. I think it's fine, right? So 5 to 6 p.m. we shall have one session, and again 8 to 9 p.m. we shall have another session, right? So in these two sessions we shall complete the rest of the topics, right? And you want any specific topic from my side for sake of discussion, you can drop a mail at proudtobedentist@gmail.com, right? Yeah. You're welcome, nature lover, Shubhya, Sishank, Richa, Devna, Anjali. Right. Bye. Love you all. Take care. So enjoy your Sunday lunch and have a good sleep. We shall see you again by around 5 p.m. 5 to 5:15 p.m. Right? Yeah. Bye. आपका दिन मंगलमय हो. I don't know what exactly it means, nature lover. Okay, fine. See you all at 5 p.m. Bye.